This week on the show, Shonali Bhowmik, Katina Corrao, Greg Johnson, Mike Kurtz, plus me, Dave Hill. It's the Novelizers.
Don't want your popcorn, don't want your milk duds, don't want my shoes stuck in pools of sticky cola. Don't show me romance, don't show me fist fights, just show me words printed out under the book lights. Yeah, baby, novelize the movie. Give me sentences, paragraphs, nothing to see. Novelize the movie. Write a book and turn it into a podcast.
Welcome to the Novelizers. We've got a great show. And we have a special surprise guest in the studio this week, Steve Agee.
I'm back.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for joining us a second week in a row.
Oh my
No
God.
one saw it coming.
I appreciate that.
I'm so stoked.
Steve, I don't know. It's been a full week since you last appeared on the podcast, so I don't know if you remember the premise of the show, but this is the show where we take classic films and then have TV comedy writers turn them into a hilarious audiobooks, and they're narrated by special celebrity guests.
I did know that. I've worked on a couple seasons before this.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on. Maybe you forgot, or maybe the audience has
I
forgotten.
could never forget.
Thanks. Speaking of those special celebrity guests, who are they this week besides you, Steve?
I'm
Dave?
glad you asked. Oh,
Anyone can answer that question except for me.
I'm glad you asked, Stefan. We've got Shonali Bhowmik. She's a musician, actress, comedian, my close personal friend, filmmaker, and writer. Shonali's recent solo full-length album, One Machine at a Time, was released to enthusiastic critical praise and is her most personal album yet. And yes, I'm in one of the music videos for the album.
In addition, we have guest Katina Corrao, who is an actress, comedian,
Corrao.
and writer. Fucking A.
Fucking hell.
Steven, you take this one. I'll do Greg Johnson.
We have Katina Corrao, an actress, comedian, and writer. Her debut comedy album, Hot Date, hit #1 on the iTunes comedy chart. She co-created the auditions and wrote the children's book, Katina Von Silly. What hasn't she done? It's about a little girl aspiring to be a stand-up comic.
And we've got Greg Johnson, famous comedian with a hit stand-up comedy album, Greg Johnson 1, and the author of Your Kid's Special, the 99 Funniest Jokes for Your Child's First Stand-Up Comedy Hour, now available on Amazon.
And that's not all. We also have Mike Kurtz, an LA-based improviser and television games producer who has performed at UCB and the Groundlings and developed games for shows including The Floor is Lava, Baking It, and Survivor.
Nice.
Wow, this show's so great. It must be expensive to keep it going. How can people help?
Well, there's one main way, and that's by sending me money, not in an envelope in the mail. Someone might steal it. Just go to patreon.com, look up the Novelizers, and then just follow the instructions for how to give me money.
Wow.
Yeah, it is an expensive show.
Well, let's just tell them where we are in the story. This time around, Doc is mad at Baby. Penny is going to make a full recovery. Penny realizes Johnny slept with Baby sexually after the performance. Johnny and Baby continue to see each other in secret and also more sexual intercourse, probably. Lisa decides she's going to become more serious with Robbie. And by serious, I mean sexual intercourse.
By the way, all these, here's a little behind the scenes tidbit. All these summaries were written by our intern, Suchetis Bokil, who is like a Harvard Lampoon graduate, probably making way more money than we'll ever see at this moment. But 2 years ago, he was writing breakdowns of Dirty Dancing for the Novelizers.
What's he doing now?
I don't know. He too important and busy for us.
Oh.
I should Google him and find out.
Shonali Bhowmik, Katina Corrao, and Greg Johnson. Novelize me. Or us, I guess.
Chapter 11, The Flare-Up. Novelized by Shonali Bhowmik, narrated by Katina Corrao. The morning seemed distant, unmoved by the hum of singing birds dazzling their mates and chirping crickets performing their ritual dance. If only I were as bold as the wildlife that surrounded me. Instead, there I was on the Kellerman patio terrace with Mom, Dad, and Lisa all sitting around the breakfast table picking at our food. We did our best to pretend we didn't know each other. I may have seemed focused on my grapefruit juice, but my mind was reliving every moment spent with Johnny last night, every stroke of my back, every kiss of my face, and every grab of my ass. Every part of my body was ignited with a new type of urgency, a fire, a fervency I'd never felt before. I was certain this wasn't due to a bout of diarrhea, because I felt free. I felt beautiful. At that point, I knew not one case of diarrhea that made you feel that way. The silence at breakfast was broken up only by the annoying sounds of Mom and Lisa scraping the shit out of their grapefruits and the clinks of Dad's fork against his plate. He kept poking at his scrambled eggs, searching for answers as to where he had gone wrong as a parent. The irony was not lost on me that as Dad continued to poke at his eggs, he was arousing thoughts in my mind of Johnny doing the exact same thing to me. I was struggling to hold it all in. I wanted Dad to know the truth. His assumptions were all wrong. Penny hadn't slept with Johnny. I had, and I was proud of it. I was an average horny teen, and this was how 17-year-olds rolled. In the sheets. Get used to it, Dad. As my family sat at a standstill, Stan's bodacious voice erupted over the loudspeaker, piercing the monotony of our wills.
Hey, everyone! Auditions for Kellerman's Amateur Power Hour are happening today. Everyone is invited. If you can't sing, dance, or whistle a tune, surely you can pretend to be a pole.
Mom glanced at Dad, who was still soaking into his food. As he stared into his eggs, the pain grew in his eyes and he dropped his fork. I didn't have the heart to tell him that his oeufs brûlés, that's French for scrambled eggs, would not be saving him from his daughter's sins. Due to the silence, the seconds which passed felt like years. What the hell? It's not like I killed someone. Thankfully, Neil Kellerman rushed over to our table.
I can't wait to see the Housemans on stage tomorrow. I bet you all are great at improv.
Neil said enthusiastically.
Well, some of us are.
Dad managed to get out of his mouth as he looked at me for the first time all morning. I have to give it to Neil. He was the first person to get Dad to speak that morning. The concept of improv was something we'd never discussed in our household. We're much more of a song and dance type of family, but it's obvious to me now that Dad had wished we had. Jake, what is that supposed to mean? Mom exclaimed, reasonably confused.
Well, Marge, we are getting the hell out of Dodge today. My hemorrhoids have been flaring up since yesterday, and I can't sit on these hard chairs any longer.
Dad blurted out without flinching, although he was definitely clinching, if you know what I mean. Dad's newly discovered improv skills were quite convincing. The only rule I knew about improv was that you're supposed to yes and the other improviser. If Dad believed the rest of the Housemans would go along with his act, he sure as hell was wrong. Lisa erupted out of her chair. But Daddy, that's so disgusting. Also, we can't miss the show. Had Dad actually been aware that Johnny and I were banging each other? I mean, I shudder to think of what else he would have come up with. As it was, I was incredulous that Dad would expose his asshole issues to get us out of the resort.
We've got to go. My butt is on fire,
he yelled out. I stared at Dad with contempt. All I wanted was another chance to feel Johnny's body on top of mine. Neil, on the other hand, wanted more alone time with me, so he wouldn't let Dad off the hook.
Don't leave before the show. You wouldn't believe how much average amateur talent we have here,
Neil insisted. Lisa was simultaneously horrified and focused on her own agenda. We can't leave Kellerman's today. I was going to audition for the Amateur Power Hour with a dance.
Mr. Houseman, we have some Metamucil and Preparation H inside the house.
said Neil, intent on helping cure my dad's roids. Mom was taken aback mostly by the fact that Dad hadn't been keeping her abreast of his daily duties. Jake, I can't believe you've been keeping this from me. I had no idea your anus is on fire.
Marjorie, darling, Uranus is actually made up mostly of ice. Ow! These goddamn chairs.
Dad suddenly started shifting in his chair. Sweetheart, I know precisely how to make you feel better. I'll massage those little cheeks of yours and we'll make sure you sit on soft pillows from now on while we were here. How does that sound? Mom reassured Dad. Neil, will you get Jake some soft pillows? She asked with no intention of waiting for an answer. And just like that, moved by Mom's offer and the fact that he was obviously feeling like a louse for lying to our faces, Dad responded quietly,
Okay, Marjorie, I think my ass can handle this for a couple of more days. We'll stay.
Honestly, there was no part of me that thought Dad would cave that easily. Listen, I get it. He's got a teenage daughter tied up in the drama of the resort carnies. Most dads would probably do whatever they could to stop the drama, but then again, maybe Dad knew more than he was letting on. My lotus was in full bloom. It would never be a bud again. The world would never see my petals in the same way again. There was no use in fighting the truth. Dad's face suddenly lit up with a new sense of calm.
Lisa, what kind of dance are you going to do at your audition?
I was always Daddy's girl, and getting Dad's attention was all Lisa wanted in life. I was planning on doing a pole dance, or a river dance, or a pole dance. What's your favorite dance, Daddy? Lisa asked excitedly as she saddled up to Dad and chased him out of the breakfast area like a puppy dog waiting for her treats. It was annoying as hell. I snuck off to the Carney cabins to check on Penny with the ulterior motive of seeing Johnny again. I opened Penny's cabin door and let myself in. Penny was smiling, laying in bed on top of her bed covers in a pink plaid robe. She looked so much better medically speaking, but stylistically speaking, I wasn't into her look or her cabin's interior design. Her robe clashed with the hippie-inspired decor she had going on within the cabin. Don't you think all these pink Indian tapestries are a bit overkill? I mean, is your interior decorator the Maharishi or what? Penny sat expressionless, and I realized I needed to stop with the judgment and subtle racist comments. Not everyone has amazing taste in interior design like I do, so I quickly changed my tune. Pink is such a soothing color, and it suits you. You look like an angel, Penny, I said enthusiastically. Penny chuckled. Did you know Dr. Houseman makes house calls? I'm so thankful. I sighed with relief. Thank goodness I just missed my dad. He can be a great guy, but as of late, he's been being a dick, mostly because I'm hanging out with you in your car and, friends. Penny didn't feel the need to respond. I can't blame her. Her abortion almost killed her, and I'm making small talk about my teenage drama. We heard a knock at the door, and lo and behold, my knight in shining hairspray strutted through the door. Penny's face lit up like a college student's Christmas tree. You know, the kind with only one strand of lights and there's still some dark parts like in the tree. Johnny! Penny shouted as she quickly sat up in her bed, bursting with joy. I can still procreate, she announced. Johnny could tell by Penny's enthusiasm that he should be excited for Penny.
That's great, Penny. What does procreate mean?
He asked. Penny and I glanced at each other and giggled. So how did your two's performance go last night? Penny asked.
Your two? That's a great name for a band.
Johnny replied, laughing to himself. I was dying to tell Penny all the details about last night, but I knew I had to do my best to appear blasé. Oh, yeah, last night was cool, I said using my best vocal fry affectation. But the fry didn't last long and my nerves rammed up. But, honestly, I wimped out and I didn't do the damn lift, I blurted out. Johnny downplayed it all, although I knew exactly what he wanted to say. He wanted to explain how the lust between us elevated on another level during our performance. I could see it in his eyes, which were shifting back and forth like one of those scary portrait paintings in a haunted house. Well, Penny could see it too. Nothing could hide the animal attraction that existed between us. Penny scolded us. "Hey, you two, snap out of it." Neither one of us responded to Penny. The awkwardness of the moment only made the silence louder. I opted to get out of the cabin as quick as I could, make it easier on Johnny. "Johnny, what the hell are you doing? You're a horn dog." "No, you're hornier than a horn dog. You're a horn dog deluxe with an extra dose of horn on top." Penny excoriated Johnny with no sign of quieting down. "You shouldn't be sleeping with a normie," she yelled. Johnny began to fidget with the shirt, pulling it away from his chest so as to get some air.
"I have this under control, Penny,"
he mumbled. Penny rose up out of the bed as if she was about to slug Johnny. "Johnny, that's the problem. You have too much control. She's a baby. Baby is a baby."
"So what? I'm a man-child."
"Well, you have a point there. But Johnny, you need balance. You must unblock your chakras now," Penny retorted.
"Believe me, Penny, my chakras are far from being blocked, if you know what I mean."
Johnny chuckled to himself. Penny reached over to her nightstand and picked up her cherished Rudraksha beads. She placed the beads over Johnny's head. Recognizing that Johnny was in dire need of toning down the horn, Penny closed her eyes and meditated for Johnny's balance and happiness. I was seated outside on Penny's cabin porch the entire time Penny was yelling and meditating for Johnny. I was literally on the steps, panting like a dog in heat, hot and bothered, longing for Johnny's smell, his body and his touch. I couldn't wait to get my fingers stuck in his hairspray again. Just as Johnny came out of the door, I jumped up, braced myself, and slammed my back against the cabin wall. I had no fear of being caught stalking Johnny. I wanted him and only him. I wanted him to feel the urgency of my desires, the way a 17-year-old who just lost her virginity and can only think about sex does. Johnny made it clear he was uncomfortable with my presence, but I don't think it was the stalker in me that bothered him. Perhaps he was bothered by the fact that I was a teenager or that I was ready to jump his bones right there on the porch. Johnny knew it was best to physically remove himself from my grasp.
"I gotta go,"
he said. He started rattling on about having to do some work, something about cleaning his sheets and making his bed, but honestly, I didn't hear a word he said. His mouth was moving, yet I couldn't make sense of what was coming out of it. I was focused only on Johnny's luscious lips. All I wanted to do was grab those smackers, pinch them together in a mushy ball, and smash them hard against mine. "Oh, your lips are so squishy. I can't handle it. You are so adorable. Such a cutie patootie," I said in my signature baby talk way. It was impossible for Johnny not to know his penis had become my drug of choice. Okay, at that point, I had only taken, children's aspirin, Tylenol, cough syrup, Bengay, not sure if that's a drug or not, and I tried cigarettes twice, but I'd never faced the withdrawal symptoms of not having penis before. Johnny's lobster was my only cure. "Johnny," I yelled as he walked away.
"What?"
asked Johnny in a sexy monosyllabic way as he played with his Ray-Bans. "Do you know how to drop it like it's hot?" I asked.
"Of course I do, baby. I'm a dirty dancer,"
he said as if I should have already known the answer. Later that afternoon, the clouds surrounded Kellerman's and the pitter-patter of the rain descended upon us, mimicking the rhythm of my heart. My family sat together in our room, doing our best to get along. Lisa and Mom were talking trash to each other besides the vanity, while Dad and I sat together at the table solving a jigsaw puzzle. Lisa complained about the rain as she was getting ready for the amateur power hour. As Dad and I were solving a puzzle together, I realized our efforts were symbolic of our willingness to put the pieces of our relationship back together again. Our different puzzle-solving approaches worked well together. It was just as if I was jamming pieces together that I began to feel my thighs tingling again. I had to get out of there. The rain could not stop me. I got up, grabbed my rain jacket, and hoped to walk out the door without saying a word. But Mom wouldn't let it happen. "Baby, do you have any neutral-colored lipstick for Lisa?" she asked. "Mom, Neil needs my help. I'm out of here," I blurted out, saying anything I could to get me out the door. "Make sure my pole is polished perfectly," Lisa demanded, as if she was a Hollywood starlet and I was her low-life assistant. I knew better than to react to Lisa's dumb insults. I had more pressing matters on my mind. Dad knew it, too. I swung open the screen door, and Dad looked up and stared silently as I skipped out into the rain, headed for a leisurely afternoon bang. It took moments for me to get to Johnny's cabin, and only milliseconds for us to be laying in each other's arms, buck naked again. We dirty danced under the sheets for what seemed like an eternity, as we listened to the rain tap dancing on the roof. During our dance lesson, I learned an assortment of dance moves, of which the upside-down cupcake jiggle is now my fave. I laid quietly on Johnny's chiseled chest in ecstasy and played with his beads. Johnny was perfect, and I couldn't help but ponder upon the number of women and girls' heads who had also lain on a shiny, strong chest. "Johnny, how many women have you fucked?" I asked as he traced my finger along his six-pack. Johnny was snoring at the point, so I punched him hard in the arm to wake him up. "How many women have tasted your hot dog?" I asked again. Like a freshly caught fish flopping on the ground after being unhooked, Johnny started shifting around in the bed.
Baby, those are two different questions.
I really didn't give a shit about what his answer would be. Johnny jumped up out of bed, rushing to put on his pants with his back to me, as if I hadn't just been playing with his junk for the last hour.
I have whores throw themselves at me all the time. You have no idea how incredible it is.
As Johnny paced back and forth and continued to yap about a sex life, his voice faded into the background, while I became entranced by the arc of his back and how his shoulders are proportioned like a Michelangelo masterpiece from the Italian Renaissance. He was my very own David, only his dumb name was Johnny.
Earlier today, I had two clients come up here together, initially just wanting me to don my rainbow-colored banana hammock and do the famous pirouette sequence from the Nutcracker. For me, that ain't a thing. But then they decided they just wanted to have a good old-fashioned threesome. And baby, slapping hams is my favorite thing to do. It's the absolute best.
Johnny boasted. "Okay," I answered, hoping he would shut up. As the rain continued to pour, Johnny continued to rattle on as I blocked out the sound of his voice. Mesmerized by his body parts, his lips, and baby blues, I eventually had had enough. I leapt out of bed and put my hand over his mouth. "Hey, I get it. Your dog is not potty trained," I said.
No, baby, that's not it.
I whispered as I pressed my finger against his lips.
But
I said in a loud speaking voice.
Some girls.
I yelled, hoping he'd realize that it was no use to speak.
But.
I yelled as I smushed my finger harder against his mushy lips. This time Johnny stayed quiet. I was sure as hell not going to wait for his explanation. My oven was preheated and ready to go. I craned my neck up towards him and smashed my lips up against his. As his lips caressed mine, he jumped on top of me, and once again we were exactly where I wanted to be, in bed together again, jiggling the icing off our cupcakes. Just as my timer set off, Johnny stopped and gently asked,
"Hey, baby, is Baby your real name?"
"No," I whispered.
Good thing. It's a seriously god-awful name.
Johnny chuckled to himself. And that was the end of our magical conversation that rainy, sex-drenched afternoon. I didn't feel the need to tell him that he's got a dumb name because what's in a name? Am I right? Later that night, when it was an appropriate time to go to bed, Lisa was lying beside me in her bed, both of us preoccupied with visions of dirty dancing men in our heads. Out of nowhere, Lisa spoke out into the night at a relatively loud talking volume. I've decided I am going to do a lap dance for Robbie. The shock I felt hearing her choice of dance forced me to shoot up out of my bed. No, you must do the cha-cha first. Ease into it. He's not worthy of a lap dance yet, I exclaimed. Baby, give me a break. You don't care about me lap dancing. You're just jealous because Dad thinks I'm a better dancer than you. You can't stand that he dances with me now. Go to hell, said Lisa as she pulled up her covers, convinced she told me. I laid back down in my bed and smiled to myself as I snuggled up in my covers. Who do you think taught me how to drop it like it's hot?
Thank you, Shonali, Katina, and Greg. Folks, we'll be right back after this.
Back so soon? Oh no, what happened?
A little incident at the dog park. We gotta head to the vet.
Oh, not again. These bills.
We can use CashNet USA. We can apply in minutes, get a fast decision, and have the money in the account as soon as the same business day. All right, Cheddar, back in the car.
When you need money fast, be the hero. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times. See CashNetUSA.com for more details.
It's 2025, and it's time you embrace the future of toilet cleaning with the Clorox Toilet Wand. The Clorox Toilet Wand is an all-in-one toilet cleaning system that comes complete with a sleek bathroom caddy and disposable scrubbing pads preloaded with cleaning solution. The set even comes with 6 scrubbing pads, preloaded with disinfecting toilet cleaner. Just click, swish, and toss for a fuss-free clean. Visit Amazon to purchase your Clorox Toilet Wand today.
We're back. Each week on the show, we interview someone who worked on the film Dirty Dancing. Steve, let's hear that interview, right?
It's why I'm here.
Let's do it.
Hello, and welcome to the interview portion of the Novelizers. I'm Christine, and today I am here with Mike Kurtz. He worked on the film Dirty Dancing as the estrangement coordinator. Mike, how are you?
Hi, Christine. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for all the hard work you're doing out there.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thrilled to interview you because I have never heard of this role in a film before, the estrangement coordinator. Now I've heard of intimacy coordinator, and those are the people who coordinate and choreograph intimate scenes between actors on a film. And in the film, there were plenty of those scenes, but I've never heard of an estrangement coordinator. So I'm curious, what exactly does this role entail?
Basically, we didn't need to coordinate the intimacy. We needed to coordinate this view of disdain, disgust. Two young hotties want to get together. Why would they not be interested in each other? So that's a very unnatural feeling, and we had to create that unnatural. That's where I come in. I can put people in that place to be disgusted by other human beings. Is this a gift? Some people call it a gift. Some people call it a curse. And
Okay. So just so I understand it, so you are saying that when these films were being made in the 80s and 90s, especially when this, you'd have actors that were so hot for each other just at the moment they saw each other, primed and ready to go, that you'd have to create an experience for them where they didn't like each other, so that they could even do the scenes where they are not having sex or having an emotional or connected moment. Is that right?
These days, it's very common to be on camera. People have been on camera, but in the 70s and the 80s and the 60s, you see a camera, people got excited. It put them into their reptile brains, and there's a fight, and there's another F in there that I won't say on your podcast. guess.
Oh, you can say
although,
it. Yeah, no, you can say it.
I'm allowed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, fornication. And by, this is, I don't want to get too scientific for you, but, when the way that the world kind of worked in this pre-digital age, we were still cavemen in a lot of ways.
It sounds like what you're saying is like no one could keep their hands off of each other. And that is the experience of you coming into this film. You have two young actors who are,
yes.
Hot as hot can be, right?
Very hot. Anytime anything of excitement happened.
When did they call you in? When did they realize they needed you?
I mean, this was an established position back in the day. The directors say, I got two hotties. They're way too hot. We got to keep them apart. I actually, in Dirty Dancing, I made this perfect example. I said, we got to shoot this out of order. We got to shoot it out of order, So all the scenes where they're hot for each other, that was the first bit, that was where we pulled them in together, and then they just kind of came at each other like glue, like two. I mean, I don't know if I play with magnets sometimes, neodymium magnets. You don't want to get your fingers in between, because they just glom onto each other, And this is something that is fun to watch, but you gotta savor it. So like in nature, the people come together. They come together so hot and they glom on, right? And my job as the the anthropologist behind it all, the guy that's just kind of watching them, I say, put them together for a long time. Let them burn off some of that heat, and then soon they'll be estranged. Then you shoot the part where he's looking at her in disgust. That's more along the lines of how their relationship went. You burn it off. You burn off all the heat. It's kind of like when your engine's going too hot, and then you got oil and it's kind of spilled everywhere. You just say, rev that engine until the smoke clears, and then you'll be good again, and you'll just have a cold engine. And so that's what she would look at him, and he'd crack a joke. This was 4 or 5 months into filming. He'd crack a joke. We didn't have to train her at that point to say, I've heard that one before, so we got them kind of estranged, and then we filmed it like they just met each other. And that's always the beauty right there, the beauty of that film.
The prep work that you had to do was extensive. You had to work with them for months and months before they even started shooting. Is that what you're saying?
We just put them in a cage together, and at the beginning, and they kind of hit each other, like they came together. But no, the prep work was in the middle of the film, because we were really at that moment trying to get them to get to know each other. And that's the truth of the estrangement, you see. Once they get to know each other, they don't want each other anymore. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's real life.
Yes.
That's exactly how I feel about my relationship. Two people get to know each other. They could be very, very passionate. And then at a certain point, it all just goes away. And so are you saying you're waiting for that moment for it to go away, or you're creating that moment where it goes away?
So we have to start them in the hot place where they get to at the end. That's when they first met. I mean, the day on set was.
But then why did they need you? What if this is a natural progression of relationships? What is your role? How are you encouraging?
You ever heard of a wingman? Do you know what a wingman is?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. Someone who goes to the bar with the guy and tries to help him get the girl he wants.
I have always had this uncanny ability to help people see the flaws in others. From my childhood, I was able to
You help other
do this.
people see flaws in themselves and in others. How do you start that meeting to really start to estrange, get them feeling estranged from each other and not like each other?
So
This is between you, Jennifer Grey, and Patrick Swayze. They've been hot for each other. You've shot all the good stuff. You shot the really intimate moments, everything that's spicy and steamy.
Yes.
And then they're like, all right, let's call Mike in, and he's going to destroy their connection to each other.
Yes. I had their trailers rigged up like, have you ever seen when they release bears into the Arctic again? You had those trap doors.
I haven't seen that.
When you have a wild animal and you cage it for a little while, whether it's, got a broken paw or whatever, they put them in these boxes And then, to protect everyone around, they just open a like a door, like in one fell swoop. And so that's what we did. We opened their trailers and they saw each other for the first time. And that was the instant magnetism. And I said, you better have a lot of film. Just keep filming. The director's there. He's trying as hard as he can to push them into the scene and make it work without ruining this raw sensuality. And then after we had gotten it, I said, do you think you got enough here? Do you think you got enough? He goes, yeah. I said, let's cool things down a little bit. I took out the fire hoses. I sprayed down the art department. I said, boys, their muscles are bristling. Just watching this hot stuff, as we've all seen on the film. It's great. Anyway, I come in, I go up to them, I say, hello, Patrick, nice to meet you, Mike here. I put my hand out to shake it. And I kind of just give him this, this kind of grip that's a little limp, but somehow firm. And I heard him audibly, he goes, oh. He said, "Oh," when I put my hand in, and I said, "And Jennifer, you've been doing such great work out there." I looked at her a little too long, and that's a move. She kind of, I could see her recoiling, and I said, "Now I want to get to know you guys a little bit better. This is to get us into these first scenes. I'm gonna tell you my name. My name's Mike. I have a lot of acquaintances that I've made over the years, and some of them are into heavy metal. Some of them, this was a burgeoning thing. Some of them, some of them are good at cutting hair. I could see their eyes sort of glazing back in their heads. This was actually the best conversation I could come up with at the time. I was being so honest, being so real, being so myself and vulnerable, but I could see them recoiling from this. And that was good. Yeah. I could tell it was working. I had that special sauce. Yeah. And when things were clicking like that and I was seeing things cool down, I knew that it was good, I knew that we could get them to this place, and the director looks at me, he gave me a thumbs up across the room, and then quickly averted his gaze.
Because he also was repulsed by you. For
sure.
Now, listen.
Yes?
I have to ask.
Yes.
So, Mike, are you in a relationship?
No. I've been in so many relationships. They last a very short time. It's easy. The top of the relationship, I come in and they're repulsed. But then as it goes on, they get more and more and more repulsed and then just leave. And
so
that's
it sounds
the most
like
important.
It's never actually a relationship. It's just sort of negative right from the start for you.
I would say this is my longest relationship up to this point. You and I.
This interview session we've just had?
You've lasted longer in conversation than most, and you're very good at it.
Listen, Mike, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. I'd never heard of this role before, and I do hope that you can find a way to utilize this unique skill you have.
Okay.
Goodbye.
That's it. Special thanks to Shonali Bhowmik, Katina Corrao, and Greg Johnson.
Coming up next week. Oh.
You go ahead, Dave.
Coming up next week.
Coming up next week.
Mr. Robots.
Sunita Mani.
You know what we need on this show is more co-hosts. That's what the show is missing.
I was just fucking with you. Go ahead, Dave.
Coming up next week, Mr. Robot, Sunita Mani, plus John Glazer. How about that?
The Novelizers is hosted by Dave Hill with Stephen Levinson and produced by Stephen, Cole Emhoff, Graham Douglas, Kevin Carter, Christine Bullen, Dennis DeClaudio, and Rob Kuttner, and distributed by Cincinnati Public Radio. Mixed and edited by Graham Douglas, music by Cole Emhoff, art direction by Crystal Dennis, theme song written by Andrew Lynn and performed by Nick Testa. Follow the Novelizers on Threads, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and support us on Patreon. The Novelizers is an unauthorized work of parody. Copyright 2025, Novelizers, LLC. Take us out, Dave Hill.
There was a baby put in the corner. There was a guy who could give your mama boner. He taught her dancing. It took a minute and she flew into his arms just like an egret. Novelize that movie, write a book, and also read it to me.